TP. Jace is going to be up or here as well. So we have all four chilling up here with Vi as well. Out battery off to the side, but it's Joshi getting caught so far. Is going to get, or Mezuzah is going to get rooted in the back. Popping the Zanyas, Joshi healing back up. Dax is walking out. This is a big fight, ladies and gentlemen. The Zyra is going to come out though. Dax is going to be taken low. Isn't going to be taken out though. Out battery.
Watch out battery.
Geico. Rafa getting a nice stopwatch.
He's up almost 2 items on escape. This has been a rough game for him. Up 4,500 gold. My goodness, Rafa's looking for something here.
He is indeed. Rafa does have the button, is ready to press it. It is not looking like it's going to start anything yet, and it is now actually, as the ulti from Ornn is not going to be able to go off. Rafa actually got his GA popped in the middle of that.
Rafa, they're all separated and just gets run down and killed in the fight. And then War Leader goes, escape falls, and BBZ, they're just falling so far behind. They're just losing these fights. Mezuzah
out battery and wave clear. They have exactly what they need to clear this. They just can't get up to the wave right now. Victor is in the picture. That'll make this a hell of a lot more easy. Rafa pressing the button is going to go in on to Geico. Geico is going to be taken very low. Out battery is going to be able to pick up the Caitlyn, and that's going to be the trade for that. Geico is taken low by Joshi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game 2 on this day, Mythic League, FOF Esports. I am War Leader, and joining me is Raptor.
Hello, everybody. I'm back.
So getting into this one, this is going to be a real good one. We've got Universal Basic Income versus Trickle Down Economics 2 Stonks Rising, and these guys are longtime opponents and very good friends.
Yeah, these are two teams that, you know, if you couldn't tell by the names, they're very similar to each other. I didn't realize they added the 2 for TDE, so I guess they're TDE 2?
Yeah, it's TDE 2, Stonks Rising.
Stonks Rising. It is the Stonks Rising. I mean, they are 2-1 currently. They're rising in my power rankings, at least. I had them actually in dead last at the start of the season, but they keep finding win after win. They've taken down Rex now. You know, that's like the biggest win they've had. It's impressive. I want to see how they handle against the juggernaut that is YUBI.
Yeah, and already I'm really surprised to not see a Maokai ban. This champion is absolutely nuts right now, and YUBI play it in multiple roles. I am absolutely flabbergasted this is not a ban. This is like Brian Sang's bread and butter. It's been YUBI's bread and butter for 4 seasons now, so they get that one, and now it's a really good 2-way flex between Red and Brian Sang.
Yeah, the Maokai changes have gone through, right? Yeah, so those have gone through, so he's also better on the top side. I'd be interested. I kind of want to see him top. I want to see how he's piloted up there now. I think that could be fun, but I do agree also, it is a Brian champion. I would expect to see him on it overall, but the counterplay for it, that Amumu looking pretty good, I think, for Antunes or Leaves, another flex pick we see coming out. Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, Amumu Misfortune's a really common bot lane from since Amumu got that Q change a season ago, and that lane is really, really strong because of the way that Amumu just strips resists off. But Tristana Maokai is very, very good at playing around that and have a lot of ways to interrupt the Misfortune and get out of that ability. So at least in the 2v2, I'm going to have to favor YUBI despite TDE locking a very strong combo, and Swain, very strong blind pick middle this patch.
Yeah, we saw it last game with Joshi just ripping through people with the Swain. He is, again, one of the strongest top mid laners in the meta right now, so expect to see more and more mid laners picking him up as the season progresses. Last pick coming for TDE. It's going to be, are they going to match the mid lane? Or is it going to be something else? It is going to be the match. It's a Zoe.
I'm really excited to watch Zenzen on this pick. I think it's a pick that can potentially really punish just how a mobile Swain is, but and it does have a big range advantage, but it is interesting with how it plays, because it's not your average sort of Zug team fight FOF kind of champion. It relies on getting a lot of pick setups and laying down these long-range traps and damage during the fight, so I'm really excited to see how Zenzen pilots this one.
I am too. I want to see, like, he's gonna have to hit some really snipe those bubbles, but if he hits some good ones, it just team can follow up so well follow up with the Amumu, follow up with the Misfortunal. Lot of layers and follow up on anything. So I'm expecting a lot of looking for picks coming out of TDE and things to follow up with it. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like, I don't know, like if that's an Amumu jungle, I could see a Galio support come out, and that's like we see as often, but I think it does do well into the Maokai just because the MR and because you can also poke with it and get some engages. But that's just me. And you know, jungle, and for the enemy, for teams, they're looking more towards the jungle in the top side here. We see 3 jungle bans and a top lane ban in the second half.
Yeah, and makes a lot of sense. This is just what's open right now for both teams. Assuming that Brian's saying is going to be the one on the Maokai. Pretty sure he's going to like that matchup and take it down into the bot lane, but there's always a potential for counter picks and fluxing around. But Viego is going to be the lock for Leaves in the jungle. Not sure if we've seen him play this one. Seen a lot of Kayn and Nunu out from Leaves. Very unusual champion pool along with Rek'Sai. And Viego's not common in FOF either, so Leaves continuing to play counter meta.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like watching Viego's and I love watching his resets. So I'm kind of hoping to see it go out well. The Sejuani probably going to be locked in here for YUBI. It fits their general motif, engaging team fighters. The comp actually, the more I think about it, like, yeah, I guess the Civilock even has a little bit of engage with the E. Usually when I think of YUBI, I think of dive comps. It's dive, 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 and oh, that's right, more dive. They're constantly on their targets. I don't usually think of that with a Swain, so I'd expect to see something coming out here to kind of add on to that. And they're going for more of a traditional team fight comp here, which I think suits them well. If they can survive the initial burst of like Misfortunal Amumu ult, there's a good chance that they can win fights. They're just very strong, and it looks like it is Maokai support. Brian bringing out the Taric.
Yeah, Maokai going to be sent back up into the top lane to blind into whatever Jaffe decides to pick. And Jaffe probably has a lot of picks ready for champions like Maokai. Very diverse champion pool, a lot of tank busters in there. Jaffe doesn't normally play the tanks himself, so expecting, maybe not Fiora in particular, but something like that's really strong in lane. Now, going over to the Gangplank is something that's going to be able to farm those Qs off of Maokai, get a lot of poke damage out. But overall, I think YUBI's comp is a lot simpler to play. They just need to sort of survive the onslaught of that Misfortunal, and I think they're in a really good spot.
I would agree. The only other thing I'm really worried about for them is the Gangplank barrels. Those are pretty dangerous, but beyond that, there isn't a lot of sustained damage coming out of TDE, and their comp feels a little, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It feels disjointed. I feel like it's kind of trying to do a couple different things, where YUBI's feels more holistic, more like focused and kind of together. So I don't know. I give the advantage to YUBI on this one.
Yeah, I have to as well, but we're gonna have to see as we get onto the Rift how it's actually gonna go down, because TDE definitely do have some potential. I think for TDE, my eyes are on Zen to really make things happen and get these plays set up so that Antunes can go in on the Amumu, and Viego can start getting those resets. MF gets a pretty big ult. And yeah, so TDE also have like a fairly straightforward identity of how they want to play it out, but I think it's a lot harder to execute than YUBI pressing their buttons.
I would agree. I think that it's much easier to execute that comp for YUBI, and I'm always a bigger fan of easier execute compositions. I do not like to see comps where, you know, things kind of, I don't like comps that are hard to pull off, because it's cool when they work, but it's just so unlikely it's going to work out overall. I don't know. Easier execution just seems like the way to go. No reason to force aggression, if that makes sense. Like, there's no reason to have a comp that has to like kind of force things to go its way. It's things that can just kind of naturally happen, and I see that more with YUBI's comp here.
Yep. We're seeing, speaking of not forcing things, not forcing anything level 1, both teams perfectly content to just fan out as 5. And minions are going to be spawning in, and we're going to have to see how these lanes will go. I expect a lot of aggression in the bot lane from Jeff God Gamer and Brian Sang on the Taric and the Tristana.
Yeah, I would too. They've looked absolutely immaculate. This season, I thought Brian would need a little bit of time to warm up, and him and Jeff would need time to find their synergy, but they've just gotten right back on the horse, right where they left off from 2 seasons ago. And yeah, I love watching this bot lane. I think they are the best bot lane in FOF, arguably. And you know, I want to see just how well they can stack up, especially as they start, you know, playing against some of the stronger bot lanes. They've had not the strongest competition to start out. I want to see them play against some of the higher ranking ones, see how they really match up. And I think Ultravox and Antunes is a good place to begin that like observation.
Yeah, you got to work your way up to really high caliber bot lanes like Escape and War Leader, who really put on a showcase in the last match of just how good they can be in lane. In all seriousness, though, we are seeing the level 2 actually go over to the Misfortune and Amumu, who have the early aggression in this matchup and are going to be able to force Jeff God and Brian Singh off for the time being. So maybe that aggression that I was talking about is actually going to come in later. Makes sense. The Tark gets more levels. Really hard for Tark to do anything. But utility monsters here in the top lane. Red has a big in. Going to go in. Twisted Advance. Bramble Smash. Utility monsters already laying on those stacks. Jaffe not long for the world. The oranges will get him a good flash. But the charge forward from Sejuani is going to lock it up. No, flash out for Red is going to secure it. First blood over to YUBI.
YUBI, once again, just destroying their opponents with a quick early gank, classic YUBI maneuver. Utility monster roaming level 3, heads on up, and straight to the top lane, goes right onto Jaffe. They get the first blood onto the Maokai, which actually I think is a good target. I think letting him get beefy early will be very beneficial for this squad. It's going to be so difficult for the members of TDE to really punch through that Maokai if he gets really big. And he's going to be the main front line later on in this game. So Sejuani will be the engaged, but once the passive falls off, it's the Maokai show. It's Maokai keeping him busy. It's Maokai buying the space. Let's watch this replay again.
Yeah, so it's a pretty standard gank, right? Sejuani on the melee top lane is really strong, and they just have so much CC that it doesn't even matter what Jaffe does. You can orange, you can flash, doesn't matter. The Twisted Advance, the Bramble Smash, Permafrost, Sejuani's charging for it. You just can't deal with the 6 seconds of CC.
Yeah, and now there's no flash. I mean, there's no flash on Red either, but you need really flash and you can just lock a target down and Twisted Advance forward. They're gonna need to I expect a second gank. I expect a second gank to come sometime soon. We do see Leaves here on the bottom side looking to maybe start something up, but they're too far back. So it's going to go back to the farming game. And I think the onus is on TDE to try to force things. I think if YUBI just plays this calm and collectively, it's a pretty surefire victory just with their play style and how they play. TDE needs to put pressure. They need to find ganks. They need to be getting this Misfortune ahead, getting kills onto Viego, getting him snowballing. The onus is on them. So I would expect to see them be more aggressive. I would like to see them be more aggressive in this game. But Jaffe and Red
might be Zen making it happen. Cleansing for move speed out from the Zoe. Trying to find an angle laying these skill shots, but it's really hard to the minion wave. Ignite goes down onto Red, being taken very low. And you don't even need to hit those skill shots. Zen picking that one up clean.
Yeah, good roam up from Zen picking up the kill. Red, unfortunately, no mana, so couldn't really get out of that. He had enough to Twisted Advance towards Zen and try to get that heal, but it's not quite there yet. The kill going over there. Gold dead.
There's even flash out from Utility Monster in top lane. They're trying to chase down Jaffe. He's incredibly low. I can't see what's going on, but now it's Leaves turning back onto Utility Monster. Jaffe out of barely any HP. Utility Monster's really deep in a wave, though. It's going to be really hard to make this work, taking very low. Yeah, the first kill is going to go over. That means Leaves gets a reset. No Heartbreaker in, though. Makes it a little difficult, but Sejuani has so much CC, might be able to lock up Red, but Jaffe's not following, and that means Leaves is stuck alone in the minion wave, has to flash the Swain Eye, and It is a 1-0 for TDE at the end of the day, but we got to engage on the bot side. Antunes fighting massive damage on the Brian Sang, who gets taken out early. Jeff God Gamer is just trying to get out of there. Not long for this world, has to flash, and that ultimately will get them to safety. But all of a sudden, you were talking about how TDE need to make it work, and they have made it work.
Yeah, they make the plays, leaves the beautiful fight and gank on the top side, picks up the kill, almost dies to red, but just gets out, uses the flash. The fight on the bottom side, Anton's going in, reducing that MR, getting space for Ultravox to get some shots in onto him, and they pick up wall-to-wall kills in this game, now up almost 1,000 gold. TDE, the aggression was the name of the game. They're finding it. Now the question is, can they keep this up?
Well, I think once they hit level 6, they get even more tools and opportunities to go, especially when you get the Orbital Strike in from Gangplank. Cannon Barrage is going to be very, very helpful in organizing these plays, and it's a really good in combination with the Bullet Time out from Misfortune, and the Mumu locking people up just means there's kind of this fairly big wombo between the three of them that can kind of just come down in the 2v2. Utility Monster stepping too far forward is going to get hit by the Spectral Maw, trying to queue over the wall, not going to find it. Antunes has another bandage toss coming up, but Brian Sang is in trying to defend. Utility Monster so tanky, but Brian Sang is now the one getting blown up and is going to drop to Zen Zen. Viego gets a reset. Jeff God Gamers in the backline, but is it going to live? And that's going to be 3 kills going over to TDE.
YUBI playing way too aggressive. They're thinking they could take the 3-4. They aren't level 6 yet. They don't have any of their ultimates. And TDE just, I thought it was an upset yesterday against Rex, but it might be even the upset of the season right here if they keep this up. Now 3,000 gold less than 8 minutes into the game ahead of YUBI. Gold on carries. It's looking so good for them, and they're just playing so fantastically.
Yeah, and they have the gold on the 2 champions that really need to make it work. They managed to get all their gold onto the Viego and the Zoe, who are the ones that, I mean, yes, Amumu's going to be the one going in, but they're going to be the ones setting up the play. So, Utility Monsters just caught too far forward, and YUBI tried too hard to salvage a bad play. Brian Sang is in there, and Jeff God Gamer jumps so far back to try and get a reset. Even if you get it, there's no way you survive. Jumping out, I think, would have been a much safer play. Red going in on the Jaffe, just some trading in the top lane.
Yeah, good trade on the top side there. Kind of hard to trade into a Maokai. A Gangplank is probably one of the few that can without him just walking up and healing off the minions for like full health. So,
and look at the CS difference there.
Yeah, 30 CS up for Red. There might be a massive kill lead going on right now for TD, but the farm game is looking a little bit rougher for them. They are ahead in the jungle pretty far, but down 20 CS in the top lane. They're very close in bottom despite the kills going over. And you got to watch out. Remember, this is a pretty strong late game scaling comp. It's a comp that scales super well in the late game. Tristana's range keeps increasing, making it harder to really lock her down. Civilox just going to keep getting beefier and beefier and more harder to deal with on the Swain. This, keeping it close is fine for now, but TDE really needs to accelerate. They do not want to allow YUBI back into this game.
Yeah, they don't want to let him back into this game. That being said, I don't know if they have to force, but Antu's going forward, but the Terra Cult is down, and that's going to buy a lot of time, but they can't trade any damage back, so Curse of the Sad Mummy traded for the Summoner spell off of Tristana as well. Oh, Andrews flash forward and the bullet time is so massive. Ultravox is going to find Jeff God Gamer under the tower. Now the Misfortune's big too.
Huge play coming out of TD. They're keeping the pressure up. They find the 2v2 in the bot lane. I was saying this was Brian and Jeff God might be the best bot lane in this league. It might just be Ultravox and Antunes. They're just stomping right now. Beautiful engage under the turret into the bullet time. But now something's happening mid lane.
Yeah, Zen Zen's in trouble, but maybe not in that much trouble. The Protobell is going to get him a very long way, and Leaves is now here. But Zen Zen being dropped so low already, but they can't get the damage off. They can't finish him off. Finally, Utility Monster will find it, but now Leaves resets. It's going to be 2-for-1 in favor of TDE at the end of the play.
Yeah, but here comes Jeff God.
Jeff God getting a reset, jumping in onto Antunes, and able to get out of there, but Leaves is now locked up. Ultravox trying to arrive to the play. Spectrum is out from the Viego, trying to chase them down. Smite comes down, flash forward, Bright Sang!
Are you all right?
Sorry there, got something stuck in my throat. We've been fighting so hard.
Oh,
Anyway.
no. Too much excitement. Too much excitement for War Leader. You're killing him. They're literally killing him, folks.
Oh my god, so it all starts with this play onto Zenzen in the mid lane. I thought the Protobelt would be able to get him out with the movement speed, but the eye from Civillock is so good at locking him up. Leaves tries to come in, and Andrews is here too, and I really think at this point the play looks so good for TDE, but it takes them so long to kill Civillock that they don't respect Jeff God Gamer and Brian Sang arriving to the play, who Jeff God Gamer with the resets is able to just clean up this fight.
Yeah, he cleans it up so well, but we're jumping back in already. They're already on TD, already on Herald, trying to make up for the mistake that just happened. I will say in that fight, though, Jeff got 2 kills, so he is getting back into this game. He is about even right now. Actually, I think dead even with Ultravox until Ultravox ends up back. I'd have to see the gold to really see what the difference is. But 3,000 gold up, 11-4 in kills. TD still in the driver's seat of this game. And thank you, observers. So gold, yeah, basically dead even in gold. It's like 60 gold difference.
Yeah, big play where TDE overforce. They don't respect the rotation from bot lane. They think they're just recalling away, but they arrive and they make a big play and start to salvage things. Now, obviously, TDE is still in a very commanding position in this game, especially now with the Mountain Drake spawning that I assume TDE are going to want to go to pretty quick. Looks like they're just trying to get some mid lane priority beforehand. Just a good old 2v2 scrap, and it looks like the only thing really expended, well, the Heartbreaker and the Demon Flare both expended from Viego and Swain respectively, and the Herald being dropped in mid. Oh, but Antunes is in! Big Curse of the Sad Mummy means that Brian Say is going to drop almost immediately. Tries to use that ultimate in combination with the stopwatch to get out, but leaves us right over the wall. Doesn't find that Blade of the Ruined King, and now it's so tough for TDE, but they have the health bars! Ultravox flashes forward and is going to find Brian Say. Zenzen under tower, picks up Utility Monster, and TDE keep the foot on the gas.
TDE continuing the pressure, continuing to fight. Scrappy as it was, they did lose one, and Brian made a very cool looking play with the ultimate and the stopwatch. But in the end, 2 for 1 in favor of TDE. They take this dragon, put themselves onto, what's the soul for this game? It's Hexgate. Let's go.
And that's such a big soul. I mean, this is the best soul in the game, I think, by most people's marks.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
The chain lightning slow is just so brutal for any kind of disengage. It's really good with any kind of poke. I mean, if Zenzen hits a paddle star on you, it's not just going to hit for 75% of your HP, but it's also slowing your entire team.
Yeah, it's going to hurt to deal with this misfortune if she managed to get it to it. YUBI is going to have to really dig deep this game. They're down 5,000 gold. I want to say that, like, it's looking dire, but this is YUBI we're speaking of. This is a team we have seen come back from some insane deficits before. When it comes to team fighting, this team is unmatched. So I still think that there is a chance for them. However, that window of opportunity is closing very fast.
Yeah, especially with the CS deficits in every lane except mid going the way of TDE, but they're looking for a play onto Zenzen here. They're going to get vision. They know where he's going to go to. Jeff God Gamer over the wall. The sparkling from Tarek is going to land. That's a massive shutdown going over to Jeff God Gamer, and now YUBI are going to be the ones potentially picking up this first tower. Yeah,
YUBI knows, hey, there's an enemy with a shutdown. Let's target that right there. They pick that up. Turret going down. Ooh, a fight.
2v4, though, is not what you want. Civillock's going so massive. The bullet time will find one in return, but it's 2 for 1 in favor from YUBI, and they can keep going if they want to, but they're just going to settle for this Raptor camp and just getting to spend all their gold they just got. Oh my god, we almost cursed YUBI into this comeback already.
YUBI can't keep getting away with this. They take the Zoe, they take the mid turret, and then they just take 2 free kills. They might get a 4th right up here.
Yeah, they're trying to. Well, yeah, they're trying to just pick on Jaffe, who's kind of been getting picked on for most of the game. I mean, Jaffe's gotten a lot of assists in just coming in from that cannon. Oh, but Jaffe's gonna get one back. A little bit of oopsie on the dive actually makes it rather even on that top side play at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure Jaffe is gonna be mostly happy with that. Obviously, the wave doesn't get picked up, but it is going to get picked up by the AD carry. So at the end of the day, that might even be a better play for TDE, getting some more gold onto that Gangplank, who's now at the 2-item spike.
Yeah, and since it came after Brian got the kill there, which I don't think they meant to give to him, his gold value can entirely reset. So he's worth a full amount from that, which, you know, you love to see for when you're getting a kill. You want that full gold value. So good for them, but it's still good play from YUBI too. Rotated up top after taking the play, making the play mid, taking the turret. And now the goal lead is dropped back down. It's still 3,000 apart, but it was up to about 5,000, almost 6,000. And Jeff looking
Jeff
to
God
maybe
Gamer's in trouble. The Viego is stunned up. Spectral Maw did go out on to Jeff God Gamer, and ultimately both sides going to mutually walk away, but Leaves is chunked out quite a lot by Tristana's bomb. And now plays mostly dead for TD, but they have a lot of lurkers in the wings waiting for YUBI to try and do something, but both sides are going to back off.
Yeah, TD, all of their gold is on the top side of the map. It's in the Viego. He's up about 1,500. It's in, same with the gameplay, about 1,500 up on red. Whereas for YUBI, it's all in the bot lane. It's all Jeff God Gamer. This is the Jeff show. Oh, but red.
Antunes does find a hook on a red, but he's so tanky, going right on through the vines out from red, and the ignite does go down, but Antunes is out of bandage tosses for now. Prowler's Claw is going to come back out and force Red's flash, and ultimately, Red is going to drop out to the parlay utility monster now, 1 versus trying to turn it around, but Jaffe and Antunes do quite a bit here, but Jeff God Gamer and Brian Sang are here for cleanup duty once again. Jeff God Gamer gonna get Antunes. Utility Monster at the end of the day is gonna grab it. Gonna jump forward though, and gets bursted down by Leaves, who's there for the clutch, and the play goes back as the Tristana is now resetting again. The Viego trying to get out, trying to get onto Brian Sang. Utility Monster, and does flash, find the Spectral Maw. Utility Monster's taking so low, going to flash out, and now they look onto Brian Sang under the tower, but they're not gonna find it.
Wild plays right there. Wild fight. Starts out with the death of Red, and it just keeps going from there. Antunes falls after. Jeff got going after that. Almost had it. He got a little too excited. Had the vein spotting. Had the gangplank in his eyes. But the fight goes for TDE. They do manage to get the bottom turret out of it too. They're probably also going to get this mid with no response. And now they're going for the Hex Dragon. TDE looking to put themselves on soul point here.
Would be big, but Utility Monster's going for the flank. Does not have the Glacial Prison up. TP now coming in from Red, trying to make this work. Jaffe also at the play, and is trying to go forward onto Brian, saying he has to flash out at the start of the play, but now YUBI Red and Utility Monster have found a side flank. All 5 people in one spot is fresh meat for Swain, but the bullet time doesn't do anything. Utility Monster living barely. Civillock getting so much work in 1 versus 3, and even though it ultimately dropped, it's TDE managing to maybe just turn around this fight. Oh my goodness, the health bars are so close as Leaves and Red are fighting over on the top side of your screen. Utility Monster able to get in there before his teammates. Leaves going forward and does pick up the kill on Utility. Gets the reset, and it will be TDE picking up this fight.
TDE with a huge fight right there around the Hex Tech Dragon. It looked like, you know, Jeff had gone out of that out of that fight, and that maybe YUBI could take it, but he jumps right into the middle of 5 people to try to finish off. I think that was Ultravox he was trying to finish off there. Didn't, unfortunately, just out of range, can't finish it, goes down, and it looks like TDE has it. You know, let's watch this replay right here, how it all starts. You know, the walk up from Brian Zhang and Jeff God. They think they can help out Utility Monster. They don't see the TP because of the red word, and Jaffe comes in. They have to back off. Jeff, you know, it looks right here like he's gotten out of this fight, and they turn it around, but then he flashes forward. He's trying to get, it's Leaves he's trying to get there, isn't able to get to him. He goes down, and then the fight looks really scattered. Civillock almost managed to turn the whole thing back, almost picked Antunes, manages to get Zen here, but it takes him so long that he just goes down to Jaffe in the end, and then I think Utility Monster should have just left this to Red. He shouldn't have continued forward. Continuing forward, it gave Leaves the reset. It allowed him back into this, where Red could have had him on his own and maybe taken it, and that just cost them it all. And the ace coming through there. TDE with such a big fight, such a strong position in this game. They're up 6,000 gold now, 22 to 12 on Soul Point. This is TDE's game to win.
Yeah, it's been a massively bloody game so far between these two teams, just slugging it out. And that has been really favorable towards Viego, who's gotten off many key resets throughout this game, and Ultravox able to get some good bullet times. I thought the one in that last fight wasn't going to be able to do anything, but it was the last couple picks needed onto Jeff God Gamer to take him out of the fight, and that's so much of YUBI's damage. They've drafted a composition that fights very, very slowly, except with the exception of the Tristana, who does have some burst pact in there, but Swain takes a long time to get people down, and other than that, you have 3 tanks.
Yeah, it's just 3 tanks. And Civillock is doing a lot of damage, and he's going to keep scaling up as he goes on. He's got the he's got the Leandries. He's got some slow. He's in a good spot, but without Jeff God, like you said, this is a lot of tanks, so it is hard to get much done when he goes down. And he's been playing really aggressively this game. He's flashed in twice into a fight that he really shouldn't have. I think he just needs to play a bit further back. Wait until you've guaranteed the reset before you're going in, before you're starting to jump and start bouncing around. Like,
the real thing is the angles that Antunes has been finding to make Jeff God Gamer so uncomfortable. Even with Cleanse, Antunes is just forcing Jeff God Gamer away to the play that he has to play aggressive to get back in, but Leaves does so much damage! Oh my goodness, Civillock is deleted from the map. The Viego pick turning up huge.
Leaves you waiting for the gray screen for the respawn. It goes down there, takes out Civillock. Ooh, Zenzen looking for it there on Jeff God. They're 4v4 right now. Gangplank ult is down, maybe actually 4v3. They're looking for a fight.
Utility Monster over the wall onto Zenzen, who's deleted from the map. Glacial Person is going to go out and miss, but Ultravox has nowhere to walk. The Terracult does come down. Ultravox being chased away by Jeff God Gamer. Leaves trying to find an angle into the fight. Is going to choose onto Red. Not going to get down, but the bullet time does get a lot of damage now. Antunes is the one in front. Brian Sang trying to find an angle. Jeffy is unstoppable. Finds so much damage. Double kill from the barrel. Is going to be taken solo by Red, but not yet taken down. Now Utility Monster back in, finds Antunes. Leaves going to pick that one up. And now Leaves / Viego on that Sejuani, going to try and chase down Red. Swain Eye from Civillock from base is going to stop that one up. TDE are going to take that fight. They get the 5th man there.
Yeah, TDE taking the fight right there. I thought it was going to go really bad. I thought Jeff God was going to get a reset after reset, but they just stay out of his range. He keeps changing targets, and he's not able to get a kill. They just let Jaffe walk up to him. They saw him for so long, and he just casually walks up and just down smashes Jeff God into the fountain, leaves him dead. YUBI managed to pick up a couple more kills there, but these fights, I mean, they're still really close fights. Despite being 6,000 gold down, YUBI is not afraid to take fights, and I do love that. I love watching a team still try to be proactive and aggressive despite being down. I hate watching teams just kind of limp around and just keel over. So that was good to see, but still losing them. They've still yet to find it, and they might do another right here for this Dragon Soul.
Mumu does not have ults, but the early poke is coming out from Jaffe. Zenzen trying to find an angle. Brian Sang flash finds 3, and Red's vines are out there. YUBI are trying to burst down the Drake, but Leaves is in the pit and steals the Drake. Hextech Soul is online, and now TDE are looking to clean up. Leaves with the reset is in, trying to choke out Utility Monster, but gets choked out in return. Meanwhile, on the backside of the fight, Ultravox is getting taken quite low, but it gets traded out, and now Civillock trying to find more, but Leaves is so big, and the Hextech Soul makes it so difficult for anyone on YUBI to escape, and TDE may have just locked it up with a clutch steal from Leaves. Civillock doing everything he can to cut it out, and gets a big shutdown on to Leaves. Civillock actually turning out to be the hero of the play, living at the end, but really the fight was over as soon as that Hex Soul drops. That's the reward.
Yeah, huge play right there from Leaves. Huge steal coming up. Gets the Sulfurs team, and once that's down, the fight, it just goes so bad. Civillock getting burst, like half health at the very beginning of that fight, so has to play extra careful. They got the stuns and everything, but Jeff God and Utility Monster are just stuck on this dragon, and no one's there to stop Leaves, and the ult doesn't mean anything. They get the soul, and then Jeff God thinks he has it here, thinks he's in a good spot. Jaffe just walked forward and barreled him to death, and then it looks like the fight is over. TDE's is going to clean it up, but Civillock, the Swain is online. Leaves may be big and fed, but if you can't reach the Swain, you're never going to kill him. And he just cannot get to him. Antunes too scared to walk forward. He knows he'll die if he does. And Civillock managing to get that massive shutdown for himself on something there. But still, the only real positive for that is TDE puts themselves with Soul in the driver's seat, puts themselves that much closer to giving YUBI their first ever loss in the Mythic League. It's looking good for them, but I gotta ask you, how does YUBI come back into this game?
It's incredibly tough, and I think it needs to be off the back of how Civillock is playing. Civillock just picked up a big shutdown, getting most of his core items completed, but it's going to be so tough trying to rally towards this Baron that is getting taken down so quickly by the side of TDE. Now, as Brian saying does walk up, we'll have to see if Jaffe wants to teleport in. No, the Baron's already down. Utility Monster did come over the wall, shouldn't be able to get caught, but free Baron is always pretty nice, no matter what position you're in, and from a driver's seat position, TDE are going to look to knock down some of those inner towers.
And Jaffe, I want to talk about Jaffe this game. He has been huge. So many fights that have looked kind of wonky. He's been the one to get there, pick off Jeff, or set up a fight with his ultimate and allowed his team to get picks. Jaffe's Gangplank has been phenomenal. He's almost full build. You see the cloak there? Almost his last item. Almost entirely 6-item Gangplank. The terror of top lane is almost here. And YUBI is just struggling to deal with this and just the multiple threats. TDE, they got the acceleration where they needed. Now even the Ultravox is getting big. The only one really not like massive is the Zoe, but even then, still finding those bubbles, still finding good like locations to make plays and get poke in. But YUBI, I think they might fight here. Zenza getting kind of low.
Yeah, Red trying to find the angle, but it looks like Lee is going to be the one landing that Spectral Maw down first onto Red. And it's kind of just an ARAM developing at this point. I'm a little surprised to not see Gangplank tearing up the side lanes. Just with that teleport up with the Cannon Barrage, it's really, really good for Gangplank to get into the side lanes and Baron up another wave, because so far, YUBI have done a great job at wave clearing out these minions.
Yeah, they've got some pretty good wave clear between the Swain and the Tristana. They can blow through targets. So Red gets caught out on the side.
Red does get caught out. He's going to lose half his health for it, nothing more, but now they did transition Gangplank into the bottom lane, and they're going to start chipping. Leaves is going forward, but YUBI is going forward, and they find Zenzen. Bullet time is going to come out. It does so much damage! The Torgal finally comes through, though, and that means they're going to lock up Zenzen. They're going to almost lock up Antunes. They're going to lock up Ultravox, and now Leaves is the one left alive. But how do you kill Leaves? He's turned into your Swain. He's legendary in the bot side from Jaffe, and now Leaves is turning into your entire team and taking out your entire team. Leaves putting the team on his back, carrying him through that one.
Hydra 80 carries, Hydra junglers, because Leaves here to steal them all and their abilities. Gets a huge play there. YUBI finds a massive fight on 3, but Leaves gets reset after reset after reset. Finds the whole back, gets the kill onto Brian, then resets that into Civillock, resets it into Red, resets it into Jeff God.
You've gone too far, my friend. You're not clearing that wave in time. Leaves says nope. Jaffe says nope. And that's going to secure the ace in from TDE. Now they're looking towards the inhibitors. Second one, trying to get taken down. Civillock up in 5. Jeff God Gamer not far behind, and that's going to be the end of TDE's push. But very successful Baron, leading to 40 seconds from now, a pretty massive Elder Dragon.
Yeah, now with 2 inhibitors down, YUBI, they have to decide, can they really contest this? These waves are just kind of starting to crash in. They've got to clear them out and buy some breathing room, because if this fight goes too long at the Elder, they either have to give it up or let their Nexus fall to these supers. So they really need to get a pick here. They need to find either Leaves. Actually, Leaves honestly would be the best target, but Brian...
This is the one trying to get onto Civillock really deep in the fight very early on, but Civillock does get dropped by bullet time. Leaves resets and everybody's dead already! There's nothing YUBI can do at this point! TDE are just so strong, and Leaves so massive in these team fights. Reset after reset after reset. TDE are gonna walk this one in.
TDE defeating the undefeated YUBI, showing that the cat gods can bleed. They take the win. They advance to a tie in first at 3-1, and they are looking like such a good team right now.
Yeah, TDE have really shown coordination, and they play a style that's so different from the way that everyone else plays. Leaves being an absolute monster early on in this Mythic League. They looked so strong playing around their jungler.
Absolutely. And look at those numbers. Look at the charts. Oh, look at the wrong charts. I'm sorry. I have misled you.
Don't look at the charts. Don't look.
Don't look at them.
There.
Don't look at me.
That being said, though, TDE played those fights so well, and they were just able to stifle the plays that YUBI were trying to make. And YUBI, that we were talking about how they're such strong team fighters, and it came in early, but a couple of mistakes were punished by Leaves in those Viego resets, and looked absolutely nasty on it.
Lolalytics loses today.
That being said, though, to hear all about it, we are going to go to an interview from TDE, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello folks, Chris Edgeworth here with our second interview tonight, and this time I am joined by Trickle Down Economics 2, I forget the rest of the surname, but TDE Leaves. Congrats, how you feeling after the win?
Thanks, I'm feeling pretty good. This was a match that the whole team was really looking forward to, and I'm really happy with how we ended up playing it.
Let's start there. I mean, this now rounds off a 2-0 week for you, where you have done nothing but slay Titans in this week. You took down YUBI today, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but yesterday we got to see the sealed match from the past from last week when you folks were able to actually take down Rex. What was your thoughts on that game and how it went out?
Yeah, so we went into that game thinking that obviously the odds were all stacked against us because that team is just so many star players on it, so many like really good people. So we went into it just thinking that instead of trying to match them in the team fight where they would excel, we would try to counteract their strategy with our own, which was putting Jaffe on like a split pusher. And just with the champions that they picked, they didn't really have an answer for the Olaf.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's a very concise way of putting it. And that brings us to today, where you yet again match up against another stalwart team of the league. And this game, I think, has a lot of interesting things, starting from before the game, even with the draft and how it shook out. You did let YUBI get their hands on some of the toys that they wanted to play with, Sejuani, and of course the Maokai, not this time for Brian Sang, ending up in Red's hands, but that is a Stark YUBI champion. You folks on your side, though, did get the Curse of the Sad Bullet Time bot lane, and then for your player, you got Viego. What was your thoughts overall on the draft that you folks had put together and what you had allowed them to draft?
Yeah, so similar to the game from yesterday, we went into this thinking we're probably not going to win if we try to match UB's strengths of team fighting. So we wanted to make a team comp that would be semi-independent without our top laner and let Jaffe do his thing. And once again, he was able to pick a champion where the enemy team just didn't really have a good answer for it. As for the Viego, I wanted to pick that, not only because they banned the other two champions that I would have picked here otherwise, but I also think that the resetting makes it so that even if they like a single mistake, we can turn even a losing fight into a winning one.
And that game, there was there was a few moments there where YUBI did try and swing and strike back. You folks did have mostly the lead throughout that game. Where do you think you folks had the decisive edge? When rather in the game?
I'd say it would be around the Dragon Steel is really what cinched the game for us. Once we got that soul, it became just so much harder for YUBI to come back, especially with it being Hextech soul.
Can you give me some more insight about that play, what the comms were like for you as you went in and snuck that out?
So we were actually all saying that we should back out, but I may have tunnel visioned a little bit and decided that it was very possible to go for that, and it ended up working out. But Zane is probably not too happy with me for ignoring the shot calls.
I was about to say, it's kind of hard to get mad when you do come up with the dragon and it's a Hextech soul, and it's just like one of those things where you're just like, well, that pretty much does it. Like, you can't do anything. If they had gotten the dragon, sure, it's just a good old straight up scrap, and there's dragon buffs per se, but not a big dragon buff. But yeah, when you just straight up roll up and just get the Hextech dragon soul at the beginning of the fight, it's sort of a sad moment for the other team. So it was a great game out of TDE. YUBI, of course, did try and make their mark here, but in the end, 2-0 week for Trickle Down Economics 2 Stonks Rising. So before we step away, though, Leaves, thank you for joining me for this interview. I do want to give you your opportunity here while we're still on the desk. Any final thoughts, any shout-outs, any banter you'd like to leave with us?
Thanks. I'd just like to thank Riot for releasing another 80 bruisers so I can no longer be banned out. Thanks, Riot.
A shout out to Rito Games, just a band of people at a small indie game company. We thank them. You know, we know that they've got barely pennies, dimes, and nickels to put this all together, but we thank them for all their hard work and their 200 years of game design experience that's ever increasing, giving us amazing new champions. So shouts out to Riot, and folks, that's going to be it for Game 2. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with coverage of Game 3 for Mythic League, Day 2 of Week 2. So don't go too far. We'll be back very shortly.
Cause you are